I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest, find a rider. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, oh. I get those goosebumps every time.
Just
hey, Champions League, baby.
Look at that. I'm looking at
It took me a while to figure that out, Pete. Yeah. Champions League. That's why we're on. No idea what else we're going to talk about, but we'll talk about Champions League because we're nearly there. It's all we need is 1 point, or we need goal difference to get us over the line at this stage. We have 2 games to play to secure that. It's in the bag. There's much more to worry about. And well, lads, how are you? Richie, we'll go to you first.
But I suppose after the results today, I suppose it's what you could be as happy as you can be. Obviously, you know, it's just Liverpool that's as normal. It puts a slight little spanner in the works. It could have been much better this evening. But look, we've been talking about our WhatsApp chat. 8-goal swing needed, and Newcastle to lose. You know, a combined -4 over the next 2. And obviously, they're going to beat Southampton by 4 clear goals to the swing. It ain't happening, lads. I'm sorry, that's not happening. So, get that music on, Dad.
Oh, yeah. I nearly forgot about that. Pete, I've been playing it since the 29th of October. But, Pete, let's go to you first. How are you feeling?
Yeah, even better than it was yesterday. I got to be honest. Buzzing. Still buzzing about the Brighton game. I really am. Like I said to you boys, fell asleep last night watching the game again after the show. Just such a great performance. But then we said it. That Chris will be on later, and he maintained the point, to be fair. And I'll let Chris talk about that in a bit more detail. But we said it was never going to be an easy game today. Liverpool at home to Villa, and Liv just made it a hell of a lot easier for us. Look. I'm buzzing. We deserve this. There is no doubt in my mind that Newcastle United deserve to be playing Champions League football, and to be this close. We are. I said last night we were 1 foot in the door. We've now got 1 foot and 5 toes in the door. Not quite the heel yet. The heel's not quite over the line, but it's near enough. And I'm sure it will be come Monday night around 10 o'clock.
It is kind of nice as well, though. We would have been delighted if Villa had won and everything was signed off officially, but all the legals were signed and all that kind of stuff. But it is kind of nice that we get to do it ourselves as well on Monday night against Leicester, and no doubt this will be playing St James's Park pretty soon. Can't wait for that officially at St James's Park. I can't wait for an old Champions League draw and everything that goes with it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. But hope everyone is good in the chat as well. How this show came about, Pete said, do we want to do a show? And we said, we'll put a poll in to see. And yes, over 80% of people said yes, put on a show. So that's why we're here. Look, I'm going to jump to this bit first, just to kind of refresh ourselves before we get into. So this is how it's looking now. We have played 36 games on 69 points. Liverpool played 37 games, so a game more. They are on 66 points. The max possible they can get is 69 points. If you look at our goal difference, we're at plus 35. They're on plus 28. So bit of a swing there to get that around as well. And Man United won today, so they are joined at 69 points with us. We're in third, they're in fourth. It'll be nice to get third now as well. Why not? While we're at it. But lads, how you? Anything else you want to comment on this as we stare into that Leicester game on Monday evening?
Go on, Richie.
I don't know. It's just making the perfect ending to the script that's been this season for Newcastle, hasn't it? That we're pretty much in the Champions League. It's as Pete said. I would probably say it's a foot and your second foot and 4 toes, and your little toes just dangling off the edge of the cliff at the minute, sort of thing for confirmation. But it's like I think it was Brett that was in the chat last night, and he says about how would we like to actually get confirmed Champions League.
Yeah.
And obviously you mentioned, would you like Liverpool to lose today and obviously be confirmed today, or would it be you prefer to go to Monday? And I suppose that in a way it's probably come out as a nice little way where we pretty much are there, but we just put the final nail in the coffin at St James's last home game of the season under the lights. It's the perfect way at the season, end of the season. It really, really is. And it still makes it nice that obviously, Chelsea, hopefully by then the Chelsea last game of the season is, it's obviously a dead rubber, but obviously we still want to try and go for third place, the extra money that goes with it. Yeah. But, Chelsea could do a miraculous favour for us during the week. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? They could actually give us third place by the time we get to Stamford Bridge on Sunday. Yeah. It's just mad. And obviously, Fulham have got, they had the Mitrovic was back on fire today, 2 goals today and stuff like that. So, and we all know what happened last time Man United and Fulham played at Old Trafford. I think there's going to be a few scores that Fulham might want to settle on that game as well. So, that's another one that's got plenty on it as well. So it's, I think everybody would expect Liverpool to go to Southampton and win there. But look, we've said it for weeks. It's been in our hands, and it still is on Monday night, and that's it. Monday night it just can't come along quick enough.
Exactly. We can enjoy the time before that as well, Richie. But Pete, is this like stopping off at the pub to have a quick one before you head to the main event on Monday night?
Yeah. A great way of putting it. I can't lie. Great way of putting it. It's kind of like, just a quick one at the pub. It's almost like having a swift one at Shearer's after you've played a 5-a-side game. Hit Akenside later on for.
We don't talk about the result though.
It was more than one, but it is like that. You're absolutely right. And to be fair, Richie was absolutely spot on. It's a brilliant point. Was that just as we talked about when I mentioned, Chris had mentioned it way back when we were looking at the spreadsheet before with the Villa game for Liverpool. I agree with Richie. The Chelsea game on Thursday at Old Trafford isn't a gimme either, and neither is Fulham. Mitchell is back, as Richie said, scoring goals, looking dangerous. They're going to want revenge. They're going to want revenge 110%. So they've not got, although they're at home at Old Trafford, they've got 2 very, very difficult games. So, that's that for me. And I don't know what you boys think. I don't know what people in the chat think. That should be our focus now. Let's finish in third. Let's get the 6 points or 4 points or whatever it is needed to secure that third place. Because let's be honest, we are the third best footballing team in the league this season. We've played. We deserve to be the third place in the league because out of everybody, we've shown that we are at the very least the third best footballing team in this league. People will argue Brighton play really good football, brilliant football at times, but we've been the most consistent. We've been the hardest to beat at times for long parts of this season. So we deserve to finish the job and finish it in third. And I genuinely believe that will be Eddie Howe's mentality going into this game on Monday. He'll be saying, go out there and enjoy it. Last game of the season at St. James's Park, but let's not take away the focus. Finish third. Let's finish strong. Let's go out there and really prove a point. So, yeah, it's just brilliant all round. Really, really is. And I'm really looking forward to the next two games. I'm not going to lie.
Tell you what, just before you move on, Daz, just look at the actual Man United fixtures there. We talk about the Fulham game being, a tough game for them. If it all goes to plan, obviously we win against Leicester. I think the Chelsea only they need a point against Chelsea to pretty much guarantee it. I think, is that right? They're the same as us. They need a point to guarantee Champions League as well. So there's a chance that if they get a point at Chelsea, you've got that significant little sentence in the goal difference from the Man United, which says in FA Cup final.
Yeah,
are they potentially going to rest players as well so they can put their best team out in a Manchester derby at Wembley? Because they'll not want to get turned over by City. They'll want to put on a reputable performance as such. You know what I mean? And if they've already qualified for the Champions League after the Chelsea game, will they just rest a few players potentially against Fulham as well?
Yeah. No, I agree with you, because I did say that before as a scenario as well, that FA Cup might play a part in it. That's why I put it here. And if we're both in the Champions League, ourselves and Man United. Let's play that scenario out. Finishing third means absolutely zero to Man United. It would mean the world to us. But finishing, the main thing is we get the Champions League, of course. But let's remove this and let's go with the table. And cheers, Pete. I think you put this up, did you? Yeah. So this is how it's looking. How it is actually looking now. In tabular form, and with the goal difference kind of visible there as well. But I can tell you what that is if you need it. But yeah,
the goal difference is currently Newcastle on plus 35, Man United are on plus 11, and Liverpool are on plus
28, aren't they?
Yeah,
28.
Yeah. So you've got a 7 goal swing there. I mean, the goal difference between us and Man United is it's not even a factor. 11 to 35, there it's just not going to happen. So again, as has been said, that could potentially be the difference.
Awesome. Let's go to the chat. Let's bring the chat into the equation here, because as we said, we've got nothing scripted for this. We never have anything scripted, but we don't even have a rough plan. So what's the chat saying? Any comments or questions in the chat that needs our attention?
It's not necessarily a question, but it's a great point here from Charlie Hotspur, one of our newest members, as Richie announced last night. New member to the channel. Welcome, Charlie. He's put, holy shit! What has Eddie Howe achieved? A bloody miracle. I'll put that out to you. Is it a miracle? Is it a miracle that Eddie Howe has achieved this season? I personally wouldn't say it was a miracle. It's a great achievement, though. But what do you boys think?
You go first, Richie.
All right. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a miracle, because we saw the resurgence he had with Leicester last year, where he took us from to finishing mid-table pretty much. Do I think we've overachieved, done better than we thought we were going to? Yes, I do. But the point is, we bought sensibly. We didn't, go out and just splash the cash like a lot of pundits and people thought we would. But it also highlights what a fantastic coach Eddie Howe is. And we've talked about this numerous times last season, numerous times this season. You look at the turnaround in Joe Linton, Fabian Schär, Sean Longstaff, Miggy, Jacob Murphy recently as well. It's been a fantastic coaching display as well with existing players, people that were on the way out who were, just they weren't really pulling up trees at all at Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? Especially under Steve Bruce. I know, like we can go back and say that Sean Longstaff and Fabian Shaw were playing well under Rafa, which they were. So we knew that capability was there, but we hadn't really seen nothing from Joe Linton in the time that Steve Bruce was there. Everyone was saying, was it the biggest waste of money we'd ever spent on a player? How wrong would we be? Or, yes, people might turn around and say it was a stroke of luck that Kieran Clark got sent off against Norwich, that Joe Linton dropped back into midfield and then become one of the, as we said, this was the thing that started off all the Daz getting a tattoo for J7 that one night. Do you know what I mean? It's like it all started off. But it all started that off, didn't it? And it was, you can't say that's a coaching masterclass. But what happened is he had a fantastic game, and he's been able to develop that role for J7 as well. We knew he can play on the left or up front, but now he's got that extra string to his bow as well. And then for him to finish the season last year as Player of the Year, that's a fantastic turnaround for him. And that all comes from Eddie Howe and his coaching staff. When go back to when he took over, and 18 months ago, and me and Pete did the Howe handover. We were so impressed with we had the Bournemouth podcast on as well, and we talked all the way through that, and it was amazing, and we knew what we were getting, but the fact that the amount of homework he'd gone and done in between that time as well. We all know he went off to Atletico Madrid. He was at City. He'd gone loads of different places just to absorb as much. He's like a sponge. Do you know what I mean? He just wants to constantly take more in. He's even now. He learns every single day. He takes something out of every single training session. Video he watches, anything that he gets off analysts and stuff like that. And it's been a fantastic season. But obviously, the issue we've got now is, and yes, we've overachieved and we're ahead of the schedule, which we thought we were going to be. If you go back to the start of the season, I thought we could push for a European place. I was more, like I said in the show, it was, there's nothing to stop us going Conference League or a Europa League, because if you look at the way that our form finished that end of the season, we were fifth in the table from when you start the calendar year of 2022 last year. So there was something we could build on, but obviously you don't know how it's going to go over a full season. But, it's a fantastic season, however it would have ended. But to Champions League and, the capabilities of players we're actually going to be able to attract now as well. It's just, it begs belief, and it's just something that I know we're going to have fun discussing over the summer. The viewers are going to enjoy putting all the questions in, asking for all these new fantastic 15-minute shorts we've been putting out and stuff like that as well, because there's going to be a hell of a lot of them to come this year. But look, as the question said, I don't think it's a miracle, but yeah, it's been a fantastic season and just over the moon, absolutely buzzing.
I echo exactly what you said, Richie. I won't cross over as much of it, but I agree. I wouldn't class it as a miracle, but it's been a bloody brilliant good job, hasn't it? To take him from where we were to where, like, it's stuff of dreams. Even if you were to try and do that in Football Manager, it'd be tough. But it is just amazing, and even deviating slightly from Eddie Howe, every day since that takeover, it's just been amazing, because there's something positive happening every day. Even yesterday, you had Jamie Rubin and Mirdad talking about doing the halftime competition for the shootout, and asking Darren Eales about how much they should put up to charity for whoever to donate whoever loses that. Like, it's just a bit of crack, and it's just the everything is positive. There's no negativity whatsoever, and what a great environment must be to work in as well, and to build and know it's going to get better and better and better. There's the halftime challenge for
Let's
Brett.
see.
Yeah.
Please.
So like it is, and as you said, Richie, there is so much more to come. This is going to be an absolutely crazy summer. The names beforehand, but before this has been absolutely crazy, and the names now are just going to go off the scale altogether. Like,
I think Eddie Howe needs to have more credit though, because there's still those lazy media pundits out there who said it's all been about the money that Newcastle has spent. Yes, we've spent money, but you know, there's teams who, I think Arsenal spent more money than us since the same length of time Eddie Howe's been. We know how much Everton spent in that time. Look at Chelsea, how much they've spent alone this season, and it looks like they're going to finish 12th. Yeah. So it's not about spending money; it's about good quality coaching. End of.
And then it was a good point there, Richard, linking back to the Howe handover show, and as you guys found out, you kind of had an idea what you're getting. And back to Pete, when he nominated Eddie Howe as a suggestion for Roos even before the takeover, so that was a very very good call as well. Pete, anything else in the chat, or Anthony, you want to comment on?
Yeah, well, first of all, just want to say a huge thank you to Tampa-Toon. $10 donation, thank you very much. And Tampa-Toon's put in there, the most shocking part of Liverpool versus Villa game was the ref and the VAR did not give Liverpool their usual decision, allowing them to win the tie. Maybe, just maybe, there is hope for VAR after all. What I will say is they did give them 10 minutes extra time, and actually they ended up playing 11 plus. So they did try and get Liverpool the win in the end. But no, thank you for your donation and your continued support for the channel. But did you know the Liverpool Villa game, boys?
Sorry, Pete. I'm just going to jump there on Tampa-Toon, because I want to let people to know. And Richie, you might even know this, because we're on a show and Tampa-Toon contacted us, and what Tampa-Toon has given us donations for the summer transfer window, and so that's coming right through the summer, and we'll link it to our fully loaded transfer show or something like that. We need to come up with a proper plan for it, but that'll be all thanks to Tampa-Toon. So we'll link that in when we're actually doing draws for member draws and all that sort of stuff. So there's never been a better time to become a member as we head into that summer. So consider that option as well. Sorry, Pete.
No, not at all. No, great points from both. Colin, Nicole, or Nichelle.
Cheers, Colin.
For your £10 donation. Thank you, Colin, as always. And yeah, after that, there's just lots of great points being made. First of all, Soaps247, best Newcastle content on YouTube. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. And look, we love what we do, and it won't be the same without you guys in the chat. We've got 260, 270 live right now watching us talk about Newcastle playing Champions League football, potentially already. We can argue on that little technicality, but you're
got one of those tiny little asterisks next to the Y's at the top of it.
But the fact that you're here means the world to us. So thank you very much, all the members, all the people in the chat, the mods as well. You guys and girls make it. That is for sure. I'll go through one or two other bits as well, because there's one or two that are not so positive. Jonathan said we're all celebrating too early. The ref has decided not enough injury time was played and has just called both sides back onto the pitch further 20 minutes or until Liverpool score. So it is a bit tongue in cheek, but it's a great point by Jonathan. But Drew's come back and just said, it's done. Let's be honest.
It's a done deal.
It is, that's for sure. And just keeping in line with the loaded stuff, boys, before I come to one or two points that I want to ask you. Lisa's made a great point. I think I'm going to go back and watch some of the loaded shows from the beginning of the season. If you haven't watched some of the content, there's a shed load that you might want to watch or rewatch, and it might give you an idea of what our thoughts and opinions were at that point in the season and how they've changed or maybe not changed. So definitely go back and watch some of that content.
That's a great point, Pete. It'd be actually interesting, even if we clipped it and see what our predictions were, because I think we probably all know our own predictions, but we were in around the 8th kind of mark for our predictions, or 10th to 8th.
Yeah, 10th, between 10th and 8th.
I think I said 7th.
7th.
I said that. I remember saying with the Conference League.
Yeah. I was 8. I said 8th or higher, and I also remember saying I would love it if we finished ahead of Man United. So that's still a possibility. And at that time, I was thinking the longer Ronaldo stays there, the better for us, because I knew he would disrupt things. So it could come through that part of it. But interesting, Lisa, to look back on a few shows for sure.
Definitely. I don't feel sorry for them, but I do fear for those Man United fans in Ireland if we do finish that, because you're going to be coming for them. You've been waiting long enough. It'd be rude not to mention our fellow loaded mag team member, Chris Hall. He is watching. Not able to make it. He's on the taxi duty tonight. But he's absolutely buzzing, and rightly so. And he said what we've all said as well. Let's go for third. So let's go and do it. Right.
Shout out to Martin as well. Martin wasn't being able to make it either tonight, but when you mention Chris, we'll mention Martin as well.
Definitely. I'm sure we'll be back on very soon. Monday is going to be a big party. Yes, it is. There's a comment on here from Rich Joblin. Welcome, Rich. Commentators in the Liverpool Villa game said the referee will need to dig a tunnel out of Anfield as he's done them no favours. Well, why the fuck should he? Big six bollocks again. Look, we've talked about it before. Like, is it getting a bit silly now? With the amount of favoritism that the teams like, in particular Liverpool, get. But do you feel that it's becoming more obvious now in terms of how the amount of favoritism is coming towards some of these big teams in response to some of the teams further on down the league? We joke about it, but is it becoming a bit of a thing where it's becoming quite obvious that they're doing it?
I don't know if it's more obvious because obviously we're in and around there as well, so it might be a bit more obvious to us from that front. Obviously, we go back to the game at Anfield, which started off this season, and to have Isak's second goal ruled out, the dubious line drawn, and we go back to on some of the times when the assistant VARs they look at. The zoom right in to get as close as possible, and I think they couldn't got further away from the zoomed out as far away from the incident as possible for that one, just to say it wasn't a goal. And of course, 5 minutes stoppage time when we get to the 98th minute for Carvalho to nick a winner. So it's been a little bit of a bugbear for Newcastle fans. So that's probably why because we've been in and around it, and we haven't got over the line quicker than what we thought, and then Liverpool have put a run together where they were, on our coattails, but they've needed as much help as they possibly could to even stand a chance. And guess what, lads? They fucking didn't get it. So I don't give a shit. But yes, I agree. It has been highlighted, and I think that now that the Big Six is being overturned as such. The last time to do it was Leicester. Obviously, Pete will know being down there, and it's nice that it's not his mate celebrating, it's him celebrating this time, upsetting the apple cart. But yeah, look, you've got to look. It's been a fantastic, for me. It's been a fantastic Premier League season for football in general. You look at Brighton getting it in and around it as well with fantastic football this season. De Zerbi's, it started off obviously with the Graham Potter, what he'd started building last year, and started off this season before going to Chelsea. And De Zerbi's, he's kicked on even more there. You still even I know we hate Villa, but you've got to admit that Emery's done a fantastic job there as well. The other manager that was linked with the Newcastle role. And do you know what? Whether he turned it down or not, I think we're more than happy with Eddie Howe. We were, it was a fantastic appointment, and he's proved it. But it's nice to see that it's not, it's competitive again now. you look at some of the games that we've drawn, which we probably, there's a few weird decisions where we should have won, but we didn't get the VAR decisions and we ended up getting a point rather than 3. If you add, you turn those draws into wins, which is something which with a bit more quality in the side and a bit more experience as well, because obviously this is the first time this season, this squad in general, bear in mind they've been in relegation battles pretty much every season before now. It's all been a new experience for them as well. And Eddie Howe's never been in this sort of a Premier League push sort of thing for Champions League. Yes, he's had experience of playoffs and promotions from the lower leagues, but when you're in the top tier, it's a new experience. So they've had to learn on the job sort of thing. So it's, you bring the extra quality in and you'll learn how, from now on, you'll learn how to get results over the line. A bit like, Liverpool, as we said, they've had lucky 1-0s and stuff like that. And whether they've had VAR help or not, it still hasn't made a difference. It's the quality that's got through in the end, which Newcastle have delivered pretty much week in, week out, all season.
My answer here, Richie, is slightly shorter. I'm going to say once they don't start sending our players off in the last 2 games of the season, I don't give a. And there you go. But another thing, though, kind of linked into when you're part of what you're saying, and it's not linked to the question actually. It's just what's something Craig Hope's article about what Eddie Howe said. Like he's going to say he needs 2 squads to compete next season. So there's not going to be an awful lot of recruitment needed now. Whether it's probably not going to be possible to get as much as he needs during the summer, because that much of an overhaul as well is going to take time. But first, it is going to be difficult for us to compete on all fronts next year as well. So we'll have to keep that in mind going into next season. We will enjoy every minute of it. Bring it on. Sorry, go on to the next one, Pete.
No, definitely. Just a quick shout out to Kamal. Thank you for your $2 donation. And he just goes, Vamos, which is what you genuinely hear from the likes of Joe Linton and Bruno and Miggy when they've scored or assisted. So, yes, come on, get in there. And there he is. And just while you're there, we've got nearly 300 in the chat right now. Please hit the like if you haven't already. And as Lisa says, if you love the tune, click the like and this channel and everything NUFC. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, come and subscribe. We are on the march. 1 or 2 have mentioned in the chat already, why have we not got many subscribers? We just love doing what we do. And Roshi says that this should have way more subscribers than it has. The content and the guests are superb. Credit to you. Thank you very much for your comments. We all really, really do appreciate it.
It's probably our own fault at times, because we'll come to the end of the show and we think, oh yeah, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. But the mods do a great job in reminding people in the chat as well. So thanks for that, all the mods.
Definitely.
And our soccerette, Lisa, as well. Oh yeah, let's get that picture, Lisa, and put it up.
I knew you were going to mention it. It's a really good question. Now we're talking Champions League and beyond, and this is from Dark by Design, and it says, how many more windows before we can launch a realistic challenge versus City? Great question. Boys, I'll let you take this one away.
Go on, Daz, I'll let you have this one.
Yeah, it is going to take a few seasons apart. I saw something where I was listening to something today. Who was it? I can't remember who was talking, but they were saying like basically saying that like with us going in the Champions League, and it was Simon Jordan. That was it. It was a clip from TalkSport, and yeah, that like some of the like Liverpool could be dwindling, and Spurs we know are kind of on the ropes a bit as well now. Look at that, they lost today against Brentford, but yeah, they're especially Spurs are on a downward trajectory, but we're on the upper trajectory. Man United, if they get their takeover, we'll see if that happens, whoever it is as well. There'll be a force, but Man City aren't going to stop. They're going to keep going as well, unless they get that points or those legal cases that they'll those cases with the Premier League. Something comes out of that. It'll be a few years for that to happen. But to answer the question, how many more windows? It's going to be a few. Dark Way Design. I think enjoy every minute for now, and don't be surprised. I'm saying don't be surprised if we're not in third in next season, or third or fourth, because it's a lot of change going to happen, and it's going to be difficult to compete on all fronts.
Richie,
I think that depending on the quality that we bring through, I'd probably say the next 5 windows realistically. So obviously you've got 3 summer windows and 2 winter windows there. Possibly before you can start making a realistic challenge on City. We already know. Obviously, Pep mentioned these things. We briefly touched on it last night. Pep's concerned about how good Newcastle play, and he mentioned on his press conference on Friday about the Brighton game and how the intensity that Newcastle play with. And you go back to the 2 games that we've had this season. We should have beat them at St James's, and we lost 2-0 down there. But to be fair, it wasn't a 2-0 game. That didn't really reflect how we just didn't take our chances on the day. If you look at Joe Linton's been in his form's turned around since that game. Wilson's a completely different. Give Wilson that chance that he had against Man City. Now he'd be burying it all day long. Yeah. So it's all if, buts, and maybe, but we can give anybody a game on the day, and that includes City. But it also goes to show how good the Premier League is. That Leeds got a decent result at Man City, but then Man City go and tonk Real Madrid 4-0. And you look at the world-class stars that Real Madrid have got. So it goes to show the quality in the Premier League throughout, and it's why it's the best league in the world. But 5 windows, I'd say, for us to get to the ins and out and being, as he said, we need 14 realistic, two good squads of players. So obviously there's still a lot of turnaround on that. So
I think we're going to win something before we're in that realistically challenging City type scenario. So whatever that may be, it doesn't matter.
That would be lovely. That's for sure. David Cook says, remember City had 15 years head start with no FFP.
Exactly, David.
So that's also a great point as well.
Yeah, but to flip that back round, David Cook, they didn't have Eddie Howe, who can call. Obviously, they've had. Don't get me wrong, under Pep, they've been phenomenal. But you look at when they were under Mark Hughes and they had Mancini and Pellegrini, they weren't overly great. They spent a lot of money, but they were up and down. There was still other champions in there as well, like Chelsea and stuff like that. They haven't got Eddie Howe from the start, and they haven't spent well and coached well. So
I'm gonna throw it back actually, but we don't have the Man City agglomerate of clubs that they have, and the kind of is it 8 clubs they have now, and like all feeding into Man City academy and blah blah blah. They have a massive head start on us. We will catch them. And pin them back and get closer and closer, and something will slip for them, and that's when we'll pounce. Maybe that legal action might be the time.
Interesting. We will see. Mark Hughes, Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Seb's joined the chat. Welcome, Seb, from Join the Star South Boys. If it was up to you 3, would you sell ASM this summer? We're going to be talking about all of this during the summer and the transfer shows. But early thoughts: sell, keep. No comment.
Go on, Daz. Go on, sorry.
My comment here is the same one. Sorry, and apologies, Seb. Is that the squad game 3, the price is right, is where we'll make a massive comment on that. So that will be coming pretty soon now. Actually, we just have to pencil in a date for it and get when we're available to do it. But I also said at the start of the season, I'll make a comment about ASM at the end of the season. And it's not the end of the season yet. So he can still do something. And we're going to need a squad. So it is a great question, Seb, but it'll have to wait. Sorry.
So does that mean I've signed an NDA then, Daz, and I can't comment too then?
You can say whatever you want.
I don't know. I think it's Chris said the other day about we could have a shock departure. It all depends. We know there's a lot of dead wood to get out, but that isn't going to. They're not going to bring a lot of money into the club. So there's if you go on the question we just talked about there about Eddie saying we need a quality two squads, two teams basically. So ASM would fall into that, but you've also got to look at. We've got for FFP, and obviously we don't know what the sponsorship deals are going to be like yet. How much money are actually going to be coming in? Obviously, we'll find out over the next few weeks and months. So there's a possibility if they want to have an extra player come available, he might possibly be the only sellable asset. But so it's one of those which could go either way. So it still doesn't really answer the question, does it?
No.
No, it's definitely a no comment from us. That's for sure. We'll keep our mouths tightly shut until then. But someone else has kept their mouths tightly shut as well tonight, because Simon's put in there Dominic Szoboszlai scored against Munich tonight, and he was asked, and we've all been tagged in this. The Loaded channel's been tagged in it, and he was asked the question if that was his last game. Or if he's going to be moving on in the summer, and he refused to answer the question. That's not the first time he refused to answer the question. He's been heavily linked with Newcastle, and as Daz has put up there, we do a Dominic Szoboszlai. Is he tuned down? So give that one a watch if you haven't yet watched it. It's a great watch. Yes.
Would you say then that was a bit of a?
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
A loaded question for where's your Russian gone? You were very good at Russian the other day. Where's that gone?
I think he's disappeared somewhere. Flown away.
He hasn't had enough brandy, has he?
Yeah, I know.
I haven't, but ask me on Monday. It might get a different answer. Or a different response. A great point here from Truls. Welcome, Truls, to the channel. Great to see you in tonight. The only thing that worries me is Big Joe and Willock out. Now, obviously, both have been labelled a doubt. Willock's season looked like it's over, as Dad's put on there as well, on crutches. Big Joe was a bit of a concern, Eddie Howe says. Does that worry you going into the Leicester game that the midfield might be significantly weakened?
I think Big Joe will play. I think there's no stopping him. I think Eddie Howe will have some job to try and stop. As he said himself, he'd run through brick walls. So I think he'll play and use the summer to recover, whatever. But I think, Joe Willock won't play. He'll be out. And as I said last night, I imagine Elliot Anderson will move in there into Willock's spot, or he'll get in the squad. He'll move it around a bit. But that's for me. That's my thoughts. You, Richie?
It goes back to what Pete said last night. There's nobody else. That's the case. We said when Shelby went in we were expecting another body to come in the window, and it didn't. We actually let a body go. And it's times like this when you need your personnel. So it's realistically, to be fair, he's done well when he's played, when he's come in. So it's at the stage now where you'd expect to be able to beat Leicester on Monday. And obviously, it's going to do the world a good to play in an attacking team full of confidence. Can you imagine for a hometown lad his age to be playing for Newcastle the night they deliver Champions League back to the club again? It'll be an experience that he'll want to be part of, and he'll be, everyone will have their feet on the ground during the game, but it'll be a hell of a game experience afterwards. And I'll make a prediction now. If he plays, he might score on Monday.
I'm with you, Richie, and that's why I linked it back to week or two ago. I said someone is going to make the difference. Someone, it could even be someone that we don't regularly see. And I did say Elliot Anderson as well. So I'm with you. I reckon Elliot Anderson is going to score. Right, we'll see. Hopefully, we don't care who scores, but as long as they score.
Yeah.
Next up, Pete.
Yeah, we've got a few just random different comments coming in here. Richie, you made a point about and talked about Man United potentially, falling flat against Chelsea. George Flash says apparently Martial went off in the huff with Eric Ten Hag, so things are not good in the camp at the moment. They need every player they can get. Rashford's not been in the squad the last 2 games. And if he's gone off in a huff, whether he plays him or not in the next game will remain to be seen. So that's an interesting one.
What do you think about it? I think Rashford missed this one through illness, though. I don't think it was his injury. I think
he played a week, didn't he? And then no, you're right. So it could be back for Chelsea. Interesting one here. Of course, the Scouts of Chris Hall always looking down the bottom end of the league because of his family roots have said, looking at the league table and now Forest is safe, it's between Leeds and Everton to go down, or do you give Leicester any hope with their superior goal difference? 2-way or 3-way battle. We're always going to come up with a question for the bottom of the league. I reckon Lisa's kind of told him he has to ask a question related to Everton. I reckon he's been told to.
Yeah.
What do you boys think? I'll put it on the table. Put the table up. I'll just take the comment off just 1 second. This is how it stands at the moment.
So first up, Pete, I reckon you're right. Lisa does say that to him, or she says, or else I'm going to ask the Everton question, or else I'm going to take down that poster in the bedroom that they have up. And you have to watch last night's show to get that reference, though. Right, but yeah, I have, with everything going on for me around that time when that Liverpool match was on, what was the result in the Forest game?
Forest
won.
Man City are champions. Forest is safe.
I missed all that. Believe it or not, I've been multitasking a lot over the last while to get the things ready for this as well. So Forest, Forest are safe. I think Leeds are going to stay up. I said that the other day as well. I think Leeds are going to have enough. I think did they play West Ham? Or something.
West Ham,
yeah. So West Ham are focusing now on the final as well. So yeah, I think Leeds. And my brother-in-law and my sister are going over. My brother-in-law's a Leeds fan, and they're going over to that final game of the season. So yeah, for them, I'd like for Leeds to stay up as well.
Yeah. What do you think, Richie? Yeah. Who do you think's good? Well, it can't really be a 2-horse race now because both Leicester and Leeds would be going down otherwise. So it has to be, a 3-horse race in terms of fighting for relegation. But who do you think is going to be the one to finish 17th?
Well, it's still going to be the possibility when it comes to next weekend that all 3 could potentially survive, right? But if you want to be realistic, right, and I think Leicester's goal difference will take a hit on Monday. That's the one thing that they haven't got going for them. Coming to St James, and we've already played them twice this year, and we've scored 5, and they haven't scored any yet. So, you'd expect their goal difference to take a hammer in there. And with Daz, I can see possibly Leeds getting something tomorrow, possibly getting a win at West Ham. But obviously, Leicester, I don't give them any hope on the last end of the season, last game. Everton have got Bournemouth at Goodison. So I think Leicester are gone, and it's literally between Everton and Leeds. To be fair, Leeds, they've got Spurs at home last game of the season. The Spurs were poor today. Yeah. They were really poor. So anything's possible. It's definitely between those two. I think Leicester are gone. And I think I'd like Leeds to stay up just because I'd love Everton to go down. I really would. Sorry, Lisa, but I'd love Everton to go down.
Lisa's a bit of she's Chris is converting her slowly into a Newcastle fan anyway, I think, at this stage. So she said when we met her in Newcastle.
Lisa will be throwing her drink at the TV right now. You've said that. Fact. She will not be happy. But look, I'm sorry, Lisa, but I agree with Richie. So if you've got a second glass, throw it at the TV too. I do hope that Everton go down. Sorry, Mike, from the Unholy Trinity. I love your podcast, but I think it's time.
Do you know what? It could be a telling season for Liverpool football in general. The fact that Liverpool miss out the Champions League, so they're going to have to go start a rebuild with a lot less money coming in for FFP and stuff like that, and missing out on players who they thought they had wrapped up. You know, they thought they had Jude Bellingham wrapped up because he's a Liverpool fan. It was all done and dusted, but obviously they let that one blow. And if Everton go down, they're up shit creek without a paddle. They're already struggling for the cost of the stadium. We already know how much financial dire mess they're in. You know, the losses they've had over the last few years and everything. Well, it could be really, really major shits going up for Everton if they get relegated. They could be in serious, serious trouble.
Definitely. The one thing I will say, and to be fair, Kamal just put a really good point in there. If Leicester and Everton do go down, we lose both the Chris Hall and the Pete Davey derby, which will in some sense we will lose that. But I won't be crying into my pillow at night. I'll be honest with you. But however, you made a really good point, Richie, and it is an important one that Leeds, if they win against West Ham, they have Spurs on the last day of the season, and you can see them going on and winning it. But I just think with Everton, I think they've got Bournemouth at home. I just think that they'll do all their blue smoke, welcome to all the rest of it, and they'll get their 3 points. I do believe that Leicester are gone, and I think we'll.
Did Dominic Calvert-Lewin get injured today? I know he went off at half time, but did he get injured?
Yes, I did. I didn't see the match. I just read a headline that he went off injured as well. So
yeah, he went off injured half time. So
definitely, I could go through loads and loads of these comments and points, but I won't because I think all of our wives would shoot us. But with this very quickly organised show. But there was a question here from Craig Lee. Are you getting Champions League away day guests? We will certainly try. We will. And if we can do European away days, we will definitely do so. That is for sure. Other questions coming in. There was a point here. The Amazon document is going to be class.
Yes,
Boy,
Rochi.
I'm excited about it. And I have to say, are you excited about us being the first Amazon documentary that has a success story?
Oh, that's cool, actually. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that when it drops. When is it potentially due to drop?
It'll be over the half pre-season, I'd imagine.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. That'll be fast.
It'll give us something to talk, more content to talk about apart from transfers.
Don't worry, we've got plenty to talk about. It's even back in the Bruce days, we had enough to talk about now with different expressions in their faces. But and if you want to go back, if you really want to go back in the loaded archives, go back to that time. You'll see pain then. And compared to now. There's no music back then. Don't trust me.
Simon said Liverpool fans are triggered on Twitter. They definitely are. I have to say, Errol has been more than respectful with us. Fair play. If anyone follows Chantel Cameron, is boxing tonight. Good luck to Chantel Cameron. If you're a boxing fan. That was from Andrew. Paul Gallant said Forest are safe, so our friends will be happy. I know he's based in Nottingham, so fair play. We've already had about the halftime challenge on there. What brandy will I be drinking at the end of the season? I'll be getting a fresh bottle of Hennessy. I'll have one glass and then I'll save it for all the signings that we're going to sign. So don't worry about that. Special mention to Lascelles, 2 bookings whilst not on the pitch.
It's some achievement.
It's performance of the season.
Yeah,
He should, he should be. He should get one of these, really. Lascelles for actually we could edit one and put Lascelles in there.
Should do that, and this season come up with the most quirkiest awards and give our opinions on who gets the most quirkiest awards. Would be like sub of the season, Jamal Lascelles for 2 bookings and getting us over the line. But yeah, we'll see about that one. I think we're close to being there.
Let's give a shout out to the sponsors, Pete, and you can see if there's any last question before we do. But yeah,
I've
shout
got
out to
questions to ask you, boys, but we'll do it after the sponsors.
Yeah,
so
let's do that. Cool. Shout out to the radiatorshed.com, and everyone knows what Russ does now. Radiator Russ, of course. So it's radiators. So yes, here's some of the. I was at Pete is celebrating there being in jail. If he was at that Leicester game, that's where he might be. But yeah, here's the radiators on all different colors, shapes, and sizes. And go check out the website, really, theradiatorshed.com, and Russ will sort you out and mention us, and you will get a discount as well. Also, shout out to the Install Works and Russ's other company, where they'll come and they'll install those radiators in the loaded van. Also, a shout out to H2O Bathroom Design Co., the Northeast's largest supplier of Velcro and Botch bathroomware. Team Valley, Gateshead, over 20 years established, run by the family. Get down to the showroom on 11th Avenue, Team Valley Estate, Gateshead. Actually, I have a question for you, Richie, as well. In a second, I just thought of something there. And here is the beautiful bathrooms that are on offer via H2O Bathroom Design Co. And yeah, mention us there as well, and see can you get a discount. Why not? Richie, my question for you is, how did Gateshead get on? They were playing today, weren't they?
I think it's tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's tomorrow afternoon, yeah.
Cool. No, I just saw it, and I might keep an eye on that. Lovely. Pete.
I've got an interesting question for this. This is something I picked up off yesterday. And what do you make about the fact that Real Madrid, won't be in pot 1 of the Champions League next year? They'll be in pot 2 because they're not a league winner, right? But also that one of their main targets this summer is Hosselu.
I saw that. I thought it was a joke.
Well, yeah, because he came from Madrid, didn't he?
Yeah, he was to the youth system or something. Yeah.
Is that why though? Is that they need the quota?
I don't know.
He came from the academy. That's the one thing. But to be fair, he's had a great season. I can't remember how many goals he scored, but he's had a superb season in Spain. So fair play to him. We couldn't wait to get rid of him. Let's be honest. Like we wanted him out the door because we wanted the best striker in. But if you're going to give praise for someone for turning their career around, Jesus, like he's the guy. Fair play.
Do you not think it makes you wonder? You look at what Eddie Howe did with some of our players, what you could have potentially done with Hosselu then.
Yeah,
it's a more attacking team, definitely. We've got to remember, Rafa did a great job for us, but it was a very defensive-minded team.
Had to be.
You're very limited, like in what you could do. Like even some of our players right now wouldn't. Like Callum Wilson, for example, he'd be lucky if he get 1 or 2 shots on goal a game, and to score the amount of goals he scored in a Bruce side that was sitting on the 18-yard box of your own goal for game after game after game. To do that, Alan St-Maximin, for example, go back to the Benitez days. People like Dwight Gale when he was at his fittest, Alexander Mitrovic, all these type of players that you go through, you think, what could they have done in a progressive attacking team that was attacking the other way and getting balls into the box on a regular basis? You think, and look, I'm not asking for him back. I was quite glad when he went because we needed to move forward. But you imagine the amount of balls that have come into the box this season. How many goals Alexander Mitrovic would have got on the end of? Because he was starved of service at Newcastle because we didn't play that way. But that's just one example. But look, It happens. It all happens for a reason.
Yeah, and look at the future. We have to look forward to and who we do bring in as well, and what he'll get out of them. So all positive things to come. What was your other question, Pete?
Yeah, last couple of things, just comments. When is the Champions League draw? I think.
Don't know.
Someone's just put down in the chat the end of August.
Oh, even quicker. Superb. Yeah, even better. Someone's already given a nomination for our quirky award, pick for shortest arm award. Not bad.
Johnson's on fire tonight.
Yeah, definitely. That is for sure. The question I had for you is this, boys. There's a lot of talk in the Tottenham Hotspur section of their fan base that Kulusevski might not be signing with the club. There's talk that that deal that was in place for I think around 30 million or just over 30 million might well not be happening. Because I think Tottenham are trying to Classic Levy is trying to negotiate a cheaper deal than 30 million for him. Would you take him at Newcastle United, as one of our attacking wingers coming in the summer?
This is what really this question should be put to Chris Hall, because he said it ages and ages ago, about how many months ago, over 6 months ago, that of that scenario that he would, if Spurs didn't get Champions League, would you consider him? Because he definitely would. He was saying at the time. I would as well. I'd look at him. I'd even go as far as maybe he's one that we should look at in our shorts at some point as well. So yeah, I'd look at him as an option, Pete.
Richie?
I've got to agree with Daz and Chris. I think you've got to look at the option. He's had off games, but to be fair, he's had a similar sort of season to Miggy's been on fire at stages off at other times. You got to remember he's 23, I think. So he's still learning. Great age.
Yes.
Yeah. So, so I'm just laughing at the Mighty Wins comment. There's that we said that it was the best age award.
Lisa won that years ago on Soccer AM when she came out of the Soccer AM. Go on, carry on.
But the thing you've got to remember is one of his best mates plays for Newcastle already, Alexander Isak.
Yeah.
So obviously the Swedish teammates as well. So they've already got like a chemistry from playing in the national team. Is it something that they could link up with, for club football as well? So it's a possibility, but I suppose it all depends on what the deal is. Yes, people know we're going to be spending money, but at the end of the day, with people realise that we'll spend money, but we do it sensibly. We don't just pay over the odds.
Yeah, you mentioned the point that I was going to raise. I'd be shocked if Kulusevski's not been having a conversation with Alexander Isak. I'd be shocked if that conversation has not happened about Newcastle. And at 30 million, I think that's great. That's great business for someone so young. We go back to the point: he's a good player, but can he be developed in a team that has a good coach? I'll put that out there. So that was kind of my question.
To answer John's question, yes, Chris is still on mute, John.
Brilliant stuff. I think, boys, in terms of the questions, I think there's probably one more. Sorry, from Geordie Tune for Life. Question adds, I need everyone's point of view. What makes a young manager just below the elite tag? Nagelsmann is classed as elite, apparently. So my opinion is Howe has achieved more. What are your thoughts on that? Interesting.
I'll tell you what is interesting, because we mentioned this when Howe came in originally, and we said that if it had been Eddie Nagelsmann who took over, everybody would have been going absolutely berserk about it, right? Because, he's a German, up and coming foreign coach who's won something at Bayern but doesn't know the Premier League. And, he'd be fantastic for it. But Eddie Howe never got that same praise. Everyone was going saying, could he have got a better job than that? And, is Eddie Howe too little for Newcastle now they've gone on and stuff like that? What realistically you got to think is it's not. It's what it is. it's the perfect size glove that fit the right hand, and that's basically what it was. And you've got to look at. I think you can class him as an elite coach for getting a Champions League, but obviously there's still that capability of becoming a world class coach by turning that into silverware.
Yeah, I think Eddie is elite. I think he's proved it now. Look at it. If can you imagine if Eddie Howe? God, I don't want to imagine this. But if he walked away from Newcastle after the season, how many clubs would be after him around the world? So that's elite.
Definitely, that is for sure. And I just want to throw out there just one or two last couple of points with regards to why we're doing the show tonight. Daryl's put, I love the confidence, but we're not getting it. But are we not getting ahead of ourselves? Parallax View is put, not there yet. We know, but we are confident that the boys are going to do the job on Monday to get at least a point. We all think on the panel that we're going to get 3. I think so many in the chat are going to believe that we're going to get 3. But we are. I think
what you've got to say, Pete, is we've got to highlight that thing. Yes, we're mathematically not there, but the realistic fact that Newcastle are going to lose the next 2 games with a -4 goal difference, and Liverpool to win 4-0 plus. If you offer that, get odds off the bookies for that, it's going to, you'd be getting big odds for that realistically.
Yeah. What's the opposite?
Where's Chris when you need him?
Yeah.
There you go. And to end after that point, a fantastic question and donation to the channel. Thank you very much to Mohammed.
Job done, Mohammed. Job done.
There you go. And boys, they are the questions for tonight.
Thank you very much, Mohammed, as well, for the donation, by the way. Thanks for everyone that tuned in. And thanks for everyone that voted yes for us to jump on. Chris didn't make it in the end. We thought he might jump on in the end, but he didn't get to make it. But we will be back tomorrow, actually, for away days, so don't miss that. Also, if you missed it, we dropped another short as well this morning at 10 a.m, so that is available on YouTube as well as the other ones that went out during the week, and as well as our review show from last night. So plenty of content there for people, but thanks a million for everyone for joining us. One last thing to ask: how'd you like that?
How you like? Drink it, like weed and tell me if you like that, like that.